this up. So we are going to be looking at a game from a friend of mine who said he was going to let me roast him and coach him. Okay, let me get all my settings correct. Wait, stop. Okay, so we are looking at Max Chewy.
Attackers incoming. Don't let them move the payload. Stop the payload.
So Max is I think he's one, bronze one DPS. I've worked with him a little bit already, kind of off stream. So kind of the things that I pointed out to him that I wanted him to work on were switching targets too much. So he would kind of just like spray into groups a little bit too much, and then making sure that he's positioning in better angles. So he tends to play really clumped up with the team a little bit too much, and it tends to narrow down his view. He gets hit with a lot of spam. Sorry. And just leads to him doing less damage. So obviously here he's a little late to the party, so what he's doing is fine. I'm not going to talk much about mechanics, just because, you know, mechanics they get better over time. So let's talk comps here. So in the perspective of an Ashe, let's back up a little bit, kind of get to like when he's starting the fight or whatnot. So looking at your team composition, and I know the composition stuff doesn't really matter too much at lower ranks, but I do want to kind of talk about it just to give like an idea of what's going on and maybe some ideas that people can apply to their own games. So the number one thing that you want to look at when you're looking at team compositions is the tank, because the tank is going to decide a lot of your engagements. Typically in higher elo compositions, the tank is your target caller. So whoever the tank calls, that's who you shoot, and that is because the tank often has the most limited reach in what they can kill. So if you look at like Reinhardt and Doomfist, for example, the Reinhardt it's got a hammer, so whatever he can reach, that's what he's hitting. And the Doomfist, Liz, hey, how's it going? So the Doomfist is very short range as well, so a lot of these engagements are going to be based around where your tank is. If you're looking at the enemy supports and your supports, that's another thing you want to look at as far as compositions go. So for you have a Lifeweaver and a Moira, so there's going to be a lot of damage coming out from the Moira, not so much from the Lifeweaver. That's not too much that you need to think about. The Lifeweaver is going to be able to pull people out of position, like rescue people. That doesn't really matter for you. So as far as the compositions go, you don't really have to think about your supports too much. And then the enemy team supports, you're looking at Alari Moira. Again, Moira damage. Alari, you want to worry about the beacon, but that's kind of all to be said. There's not really too much compositionally going on here. How are you? I'm good. Good. How are you? I'm just getting started on some coaching here. I'm looking at a game from a friend of mine who is he's a bronze 1 Ashe main, and just trying to give him some pointers. So the main things, like I said, you want to look at tanks, you want to look at supports, and then any DPS matchups that you need to worry about. So Junkrat, you don't really have to worry about that matchup. For a Bastion, however, that kind of changes the dynamic of the play. So Bastion is very oppressive in lower ranks, and that's typically because people don't understand the push and pull dynamic of Bastion. So he's very strong for a very limited amount of time, and very weak for the rest of the amount of time. So whenever he's in turret form, just chill. Whenever he's out of turret form, then you go. And that seems to be a problem, so we'll see how that plays out. But compositionally, again, these are kind of, there's not a whole, it doesn't really matter in bronze, but that's kind of the stuff you want to be looking at. Okay, nice shot. All right, so I kind of talked about this at the very beginning when I was talking about the things that I've talked to Max about. The better position would be a coach up here and take some shots. So if you look at the past 10-ish seconds here. So right here, this is good, but now what are you seeing? What are you shooting? What are you doing? The payload is kind of blocking all of your perspective. This is your favorite game? Yes. That's I've no liked this game a lot. I got to top 500 a little while ago. I haven't played in a minute, but I'm trying to get started on coaching. So right, the positioning here. So being here, you're not offering any damage, which is kind of the problem. So you got to pick here. This is really good. And then you want to look for more, but you don't want to be too aggressive with it. So you can coach up here and take this angle. You don't have to be committed to this angle. You can play it a little safe because you're not going to get much support up here. You aren't going to get much heals. So you can kind of just take a couple shots here and then back off. You can also opt for this angle, but any kind of high ground angle where you can start putting in some shots is going to be better than what you're looking at here. This isn't giving you too much. Okay, use the dynamite, that's good. Okay, you are using the dynamite off cooldown, which is good. Because that's like the main way that you charge your ult as Ashe, is using this dynamite. Again, I already talked about positioning. I don't want to harp on it too much. Just the spot isn't exactly very good for you. So when that ball is rolling in, this is the perfect time for you right here. You can use your coach gun and push him away. You don't want to do it too early because if you do it too early, it pushes him back a little bit, and then he still gets to come in with this this swing. But if you coach right as he's about to hit your Rhine, it's going to mess up his boop and his entire engagement, and then he's got to wait for his grapple again. And that's going to give your team a lot more space because their tank is effectively out of the fight for the next 5 seconds. And he's probably going to take some poke damage. You might have to go get a health pack. You're stalling time. You're giving your team space to work. And if you look at the enemy team, you're not really saving the coach gun for anything. You don't have any threats, or they don't have any threats to you, like a Genji or something like that's going to get on top of you, and then you have to back off and use your coach to separate. You can use the coach to just push away the ball, and that's fine. By the way, where are you from? I am from the US, the East Coast. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Taking a lot of spam, clumping up with the team. They have a Junkrat especially, so you're gonna take a lot of spam. I'm not sure why you coached, but it's fine. Oh, you are, okay. So low HP. Right off the bat here. Took a lot of poke damage. So here, you need to get heals before you peek again like this. This is way too wide of a peek. It's okay, you can be like this and toss your dynamite to like up into this corner if you really want to get value out of it. You can also just kind of play these angles, do something a little bit cheekier so you're not exposed to that much damage. You have a lot of people that are 1 HP right now, which obviously you don't know, but that's going to play into how this, your supports aren't going to be able to get to you right away, so you kind of have to play a little cheeky. But you definitely can't wide swing like this. And I guess the reason for that being someone's going to shoot you, or they should shoot you. Okay, you live, that's fine. Okay, again, that was just an opportunity. You could have coached the ball as he's rolling in. Okay.
Enemy turret up ahead. The payload has reached the checkpoint.
All right, and then here. So instantly, as soon as this gets capped, you want to play up here. You want the high ground. You can contest this Junkrat. You've got good angles here. And then also high ground allows you to dictate the engagement, which I won't get into necessarily right now, but high ground good because you control when they shoot you and when you shoot them. Okay, so it's good that you recognize that you need to contest that Junkrat. That's good. It's just easier to do it up here. Because you kind of saw when you were shooting him here. So he can back off as soon as he starts feeling a little bit too pressured, which is the advantage of high ground. So if you're here, you get to shoot him a little bit longer. Yeah, he drops still, but you get to shoot him a little bit longer, and actually as he's dropping, you can also shoot him. Okay, this is too forward. As an Ashe, you pretty much never want to be in front of your tank. Unless you're doing some really crazy aggressive flank something. Alright, you have Bob. I would just pop this. Okay. This is too long without shooting a gun. So right here at 354. At 345. So that's 9 seconds of nothing. So you saw the ball. So the ball's doing something. I know for part of this you're avoiding Bastion ult. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. But right here, you land. Just put a shot into him or something. It's a lot of downtime. However, I am going to point this out again. If you were up here on the high ground, you wouldn't even have to worry about the Bastion ult. We still haven't used Bob yet. that was a good shot. Okay, now we're on high ground. This is good. This is good. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, no, okay. Yes for like a little bit. That was really good. So you got boosted up. Okay, I'm glad you acknowledged you thought about this, that you wanted to get on the high ground. That's good. This dynamite is good. And this angle's really good. Now, when you get tagged like this, it's okay to back up. You don't have to constantly be pressuring if you're 19 HP. I mean, maybe you just go for the ego peak. Because you have ult here, I'd back up. I'd value my life more than the Hilari's. But that being said, the Bob should have been used long time ago. Yeah, so even when you're fighting here, so this position is not good. Let's be clear about that. However, being wide out here in the open is worse. So sometimes you get stuck in bad positions, so it's good to know how to play them. So something like this would be better. So at any moment you can just step off to the side and you get to control what shoots you and what you're shooting. So the rule of thumb here is you only want to be shooting things that can shoot you back. Or sorry, reverse that. You only want things to be shooting you that you can shoot back. So like this, you can isolate this fight with the Junkrat. Right here. When you're here, you're not isolating anything. They can just, you can only shoot one person at a time. So ideally, you only have one person looking at you at a time. So that way you're not taking damage from multiple sources and you can only export, for lack of a better term, you can only deal damage to one person at a time, really. So right off the bat, that sort of positioning is not great. Hopping on the high ground here, this was good. Yep. And it's just this repeat here, this greedy. But getting on the high ground, really good. And that angle was so much better. You got to deal so much more damage.
This town just ain't big enough.
This fight is lost. You should just hop on the payload and kill yourself, or yeah. So if you know you're gonna die, just jump on the payload. It's better. But
The payload has reached the channel.
I won't harp on it. Okay. Okay, I don't hate this. That's really unlucky, because I wouldn't expect Tyre to go there. So I didn't like this. There's not really a whole lot you can do here. So something like this would be good. And something like this would be good. But again, you just don't have any cover that you can back up to. I guess you have this pillar here, but it's awkward. This gives you a lot more cover, a lot more control of whatever angle you're fighting. But honestly, I like this play. It just so happens that there's a Tyre here. But if you can get up here, you can put some shots into, I mean, whoever's back here. But somebody's got to be back here. At least in this sort of fight. That's just unlucky. Nothing you can do about that.
You won't get the best of me.
The Mahal surrender to my will.
I'm on my game now.
It's go time.
Okay, yep, okay, so you took this angle. This is really good. This is way better. This is good. I'd coach up to high ground right now. Oh, okay. The thought was there. Thought was there. That's fine. Okay, we're getting high ground. I probably would not have done this. And I know I'm harping about high ground so much, and I value that you're thinking about this. You realize high ground is good. But right here, you missed your coach to get on high ground. Let's look at how, so 233. Until you actually get to the high ground.
There's the enemy turret. Take it out.
So let's say like 220. So that's 13 seconds of you're not really offering any value to the team. So let's see what's happening in the front line here from 233. So we're fighting and getting picks and staggering, and there's value over here. Now, let me be clear. This is not good. Like, fighting here is there's not a it's some comps can get away with it, but for the most part you don't want to be fighting here. You as an Ashe, I guess there's merit to it in the sense that you can poke, so getting out in this area would be good, but it's for the most part you wouldn't hold this. But the point remains that you could have added a lot of value to that fight in those 10 seconds that you took to get high ground. I also just want to note, actually, I'll leave that for a minute here.
She's gonna blow. My fuse
Okay,
is lit.
so the high ground is good, but the fight is over here. So, yes, this position is good, but you're not actually giving any value to your team. Okay. So again, you want to try to isolate angles, isolate fights. So you can start over here. Keep this angle right here. And then if you need to swing / want to swing further, you'll notice how you have an angle here, that angle closes, and you get a new angle. And you can kind of just manipulate the angles this way to pick your fights. As of right now, you're committed to the fight you're looking at right now. You don't really have any control over when you take the engagement.
Do something.
Holy Bob. Okay. So that's a minute 33 after 2 points. (3 minutes and 54 seconds). So that's 3 minutes and 54 seconds, and then they get a minute and a half, I believe, after capping second point, right? Just see. Yeah, they get a minute and a half.
The checkpoint.
So that's 354 plus a minute and a half. So 454, 524. So 4 minutes of the attack was, so you held this bob for 4.5 minutes, which You could probably charge this. Let's see how long it took you to charge it from the start.
Ready or
Alright,
not.
you showed up late to the initial fight, so I'll give you a little bit of credit there, a little slack. So this is about when you showed up. Right here. So 344. You get Bob. Just do it this way, this will be a little quicker. Okay, Bob charging is slow.
Dynamite out.
Okay, so 344, they get 2 minutes when they cap first point. So it took you 2 minutes to get this Bob. So you held the Bob for 4.5 minutes. So you essentially could have had 3 Bobs in the time. I'm just skipping around to get back to where I was. Use the Bob. Right here.
Do something.
So this could have been Bob number 3. Instead it's Bob number 1. And okay, so Reaper's TPing up here. I'm gonna stop talking about Bob. Got it.
Do something.
But that is a good Bob. That is a good time to use Bob. It's just I just wish it wasn't the first one. You're scared of this Reaper. Okay. You could just coach him off. You did coach him off. So you can coach him off and still keep the high ground. So you didn't have to drop and coach him. You could have just coached him. And he used TP to get up to you, so he can't TP back up to you. That's funny. He died with a Bob. Okay.
Stay out of my way.
Okay, this is all fine. Yeah, I think that's just like a awareness thing, but you'll get that over time.
Now to show them that I mean business.
The enemy's got a turret.
It's go time.
Okay, so the beacon, generally speaking, is something you want to shoot. That's good. However, this beacon isn't doing anything. So the fight's down here. So because the fight's down here, this isn't actually giving any value. Like if you look at it for this entire fight,
This ends now.
until it's dead, it hasn't done anything. That's because it can't see anything. So
I'm on fire.
you spend 3 shots on this, and you could have been shooting things that actually participate in the
Go
fight.
time.
This is very similar. Oh, you spent 4 shots on it. This is very similar to like a Baptiste immortality field that gets thrown into Timbuktu. If it's not doing anything, just leave it. It's fine.
Life protects life.
Also, getting into this fight, I would have immediately chucked dynamite. Make sure that was off cooldown.
Life.
Okay. So for that dynamite, I probably would have coached up here and then tossed dynamite down like this. That guarantees you hit more people. Alright, so now shoot the beacon. The beacon's healing people now. Yeah. Nice. god. So again, the high ground would just be better here, but I'm not gonna go through the explanation again. I'll just, each time that I'm saying, each time I notice it, I'll just say something. Okay.
Score.
So let's see the attack.
Is your best
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Lightweaver here.
Escort the payload.
Okay. So right off the bat, you're looking in the wrong spot. So as like a Ashe, Hanzo, whatever, sniper, long range, anything, this is your first engagement. Right here. Because people are going to be peeking the spawn. If they have a sniper of some sort or a long range soldier who's going to shoot rockets here, something. This is what you're looking at. You're not doing anything by sending this arrow at a tank.
5. Ready. 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
So right off the bat, I probably would have Hanzo
Escort
like
the
Sonic Arrow
payload.
in this vicinity so you see what's here, and then you can take the engagement with advantage. But yeah, you see he saw you first, and now you're respecting the duel, which is good. Okay. So this is fine. Here, instead of pushing cart and taking the main angle like this, same thing about angles, this would be better. And specifically, you want to position like this so that you can see their heads. And if you're doing this, the only thing they're going to be able to see is your head as well. So it's going to be harder for them to see you than for you to see them. They're going to see the full body. So like even if your headshot misses, you get a body shot. Okay. If their headshot misses, they hit nothing. Alright, but you're down your Doomfist and your Tracer here, so realistically you're just looking for picks because your respawn is a lot closer than theirs is. But I don't like that you didn't use Sonic and you didn't use Storm. I think it's Storm. I don't remember what that gets called. His Hanzo's E. But you definitely should have used those for utility. Like I said, the Sonic Arrow, actually a really good point to make here. Okay, you switch off soldier, 2 soldier, but here, you're taking this duel, you spend a few seconds here, you could just launch a Sonic Arrow, and then you know if he's there, and if he's gonna re-peek. And so instead of standing there just spamming a few arrows, you just have the information, you know, and you can play off of it.
Every soldier needs a cause.
So we're on soldier now. I imagine this is because you want more pressure on the Sigma. You don't have to just shield break the Sigma. You can play Hanzo and take those, you know, those off angles. You can get around the shield as Hanzo. So it's, you don't have to switch to this, but it's fine.
Why are we stopped? Get the lever to move this payload. Go. Fields online.
Okay. So this is still too like teamy. Soldier is a very unique hero in the sense that he's a lot more self-sufficient than most other DPS. So like if you're playing Ashe, for example, and you want to go take this angle here, or let's say this angle, right? Something like this, maybe push up into here, or say you happen to get on this high ground or something. You can only be here for a certain amount of time. You only get like a small window of opportunity to get headshots before they turn around and start shooting at you, and then you have to back off for a little bit. The thing that makes Soldier good is that he's a lot harder to boot out of angles like this. So Soldier gets here quick because of sprint. He has burst damage because of Helix Rocket, so you can land a couple headshots, Helix Rocket someone, and then that's a lot of pressure onto a squishy. But the thing is, your healing pad allows you to separate from your supports a little bit more than most other DPS can. This is similar to like Tracer, Sombra, something like that. It's something a little bit more self-sufficient. So specifically as Soldier, if you're playing with your team, you're actually losing out on the utility of your heal. Because the heal is what allows you to extend and get different angles. So like this is fine, but I'd rather see you on different angles. It's a little harder here because you were kind of like pushing back a Sigma or whatever. But you could have, and I'm not saying you should have, but you could have gone all the way around in a flank like this and gotten up top because nobody was here. And it's really hard to kick a Soldier out of that angle. Alternatively, you could have come around this side up to this high ground and played here. And it's hard to kick the Soldier out. But those are the kinds of angles you're looking for. But you pretty much always want to be on an off angle with Soldier. Okay, you're very far up. So I don't like this. You're kind of wandering in no man's land. I would prefer if you were somewhere like this. So now you're watching this door. You could even be like here. But this is better than here because of the cover that you get. So somebody's on this left door and you can run away. Someone's here, you can throw Helix and run away. But you're kind of, yeah, in the middle of no man's land.
Everyone heal up.
Okay, and the heal, again, that's your tool for extending and making plays, being off angles, weird spots. You don't just want to pop it whenever. The target focus is good. You didn't switch targets, that's really good.
I'll try to be a favor.
Enemy turret ahead.
Life protects life.
I imagine, yeah, you just dead there. I don't think there's a whole lot you can do here.
Life protects life.
It just is what it is.
If I'm still standing, I'm still fighting.
Nice.
Biotics deployed.
Okay, so I probably wouldn't have popped the heal there just because your heal over time from not taking damage was about to kick in, and you weren't missing that much HP. And the value of having the heal is, again, allows you just to play more aggressive. So, but it's fine. C9, that's funny. Oh, brother. Okay, I think I remember hearing that you didn't realize they capped here, which is unfortunate. But yeah, there's definitely shouldn't have ulted there, but I think we know that. So that would have been a good time to heal.
Heat check.
Right here. So you're on an off angle. So like your support is here. So now since you're extended from your support, now's a good time to drop the heal, and then you're a little bit self-sufficient that way. You also kind of stepped a little bit forward, but that's okay.
What is that melody?
Giro,
Redeploying.
payload moving. My ultimate ability is charging me.
Great target practice.
Okay, it looks... It seems like you're trying to spam... No, okay, you were shooting at somebody. Okay, again, grabbing this high ground would be way better. So, as soon as you guys are moving up, here, rather than routing this way to fight here, you can route this way and fight here. Or if you wanted to come across, you can come across this way, get up here. But one of these two, this or this. The advantage of being here is that you are closer to your team. So you're in a lot less risk here. But the angle here is not as good as the angle here. This lets you see a lot more. You can do more damage here. You're applying more pressure here, but it's easier to get kicked out. You're not as close to your team for healing. You do have a health pack here, so you're not totally alone, and like this is fine. It's just you have to understand the differences, and primarily what's going to make that decision for you is how close your team is. So if the cart's here and your team's going to be fighting in this general area, this is probably going to be better because you get to see more, you're applying more pressure. It's a completely different angle. You know, if you're here and you're shooting a team that's here, the last thing you want to do is look at a soldier that's up here. Whereas a soldier that's right up here, it's annoying, but it's not as annoying. If the cart is still stuck back here, then I would probably take this angle. It allows you to have access to the windows here, so this is still okay. It's not as aggressive, but it's okay, and it gives you, you're closer to your team, basically, if you need support. But one of those two angles definitely needed to be where you were, instead of being here on the low ground.
Come get healed.
Also, if you're on high ground, you don't get gripped there.
Enemy turret here.
Regret that.
Trying to think if there's anything else I need to comment there. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So you're shooting at the tank a little bit too much. So here, Alari, squishy. The thing is, the support's healing is naturally going to go on the tank. The tank has a larger HP pool, so it's more likely that they're going to take more damage. They're a larger hitbox, spongier, so a lot of healing is going to be already targeted at the tank. So damage you do to the tank, pretty much all you're doing if you're spamming a tank is you're just trading with a support. You can kind of think of it that way, of like you're trading the support's healing for your damage. So the only time that's really beneficial to you is if you are close to an ultimate, then it's fine. But trading the healing for your damage in general is not the best use of your time. If the tank's completely out of position, that's a different thing. But just to be here in like a neutral, where the fight's kind of just starting, and this Sigma is not in danger of dying, He still has like all of his utility. You definitely want to prioritize the squishies more, because by shooting the Sigma, you're not applying pressure to the Sigma. It's just getting healed right back up. By shooting the Illari, you are applying pressure to the Illari. You might force out a cooldown for her to get back, or maybe you force out a Moira heal orb, or maybe a Moira fade to go heal the Illari, or something. You're making them think about it. But okay.
They'll regret that. No time for R&R. Push that payload.
Okay, that's fine.
Ready to activate the EMP.
Little too out in the open.
EMP activated.
Oh my. That's
Enemy turret.
that's a play by that Sombra. That's interesting. Oh, kill him. All right.
Sojourn en route. Enemy turret within my sight.
Healing.
I'm really confused about what's happening here. So, positioning again. This is better. Also, you could opt for a flank like this. And this would be good too.
Sojourn en route. Enemy turret within my sight.
Healing.
And you guys are just down the tank, so you have to back up. If you had ultimates, that's maybe a different story, but the tank dead is... Yeah, that's... So, playing for the pick here is the right idea, because the spawn difference, their spawn is much further away. You just got a little too greedy with this. So again, positioning, you don't have to be all the way out there to shoot the Illari. You could be right here. And then this makes it so you're not exposed to any other angles. And as the Illari strafes back this way, if you want to, you can strafe out this way to re-expose the angle, but you don't have to.
Anyone else want to do their jobs today?
But again,
Move the payload.
you just moved out way into the open. You could be right here. And she hit a nice shot on you, but...
I've seen
turret
tougher
ahead.
spots.
To my will.
I think you've gone this way every single time. You just follow the road. Every single time. I've never seen you deviate from the road.
Enemy turret ahead.
So the thing is, the road sees everything. So it can make sense and like a basic level of, oh, I want to see things I'm shooting, play in the road. But if you play in the road, then everybody, you can see everything, but everything can see you.
Think of it as experience gained.
Spray and pray. Okay, again, high ground. So this sort of position, that's when I would play up here. The cart's moving up. You can be up here. Because now your supports are not too far away. You can always drop back for the mega. You can always drop down with this bus. Okay, this is fine. I don't think I would have healed there, but I think that's kind of nitpicking. The heal's fine. Okay, this is fine. Okay, I don't think realistically there's anything you could have done aside from just raw mechanics. FaZe, thanks for the follow, man.
Fields online.
Time.
Okay, but yeah, so. Hey Cole, you might want to turn up your game volume down in OBS, your mic volume up a little bit. Appreciate it, thank you. Game volume down in OBS, your mic volume up. Perfect. We'll try that a little bit. Thank you very much. All right, let me know if that's any better. All good, my dude. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, that's balanced much better. Awesome. Thank you, thank you. Okay, let me relook at that fight. Okay, so the target priority is good.
That's better.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this entire VOD has just been me harping about positioning, but if you're here, you don't get the spam. You could be doing damage up here this entire time. But instead you're having to run away from Bastionalt, you're having to run away from a Moira. You could just be dumping so much damage up here. And that could turn the fight. But, I mean,
10 seconds remaining.
Shoot it. Oh.
yeah. I realistically don't think there's anything you could have done to change the output or the how that fight went. Actually, this is such a winnable fight because they didn't have any ults going into this. It's crazy. Hold on. I need to look at this. So I mean, they just got ults before you did, which kind of sucks. I mean, if you get Visor here, this play is actually so much different. But, all right. Well, that'll be that, I guess. But yeah, so main takeaways from this entire VOD. So your positioning, absolutely number one. I'm seeing pretty much every fight we look at, you're just in the middle of your team. So right here, I can skip to any point in this VOD, and you are in the middle of your team. Unless you're dead. Just don't die. You're down middle of your team. You're not taking the off angles, and the off angles are what are going to allow you to get a lot more damage output. So that's absolutely priority number one. That needs to get fixed ASAP. As far as the Ashe goes, Specifically, your coach gun usage was not the greatest, so you can use it as like a team utility if you don't need to use it for yourself. And this sort of situation is kind of like the prime example of that, where the ball is going to be rolling through. You just have to coach him when he rolls. And then it stops his fireball, it stops his entire initiation, and then your whole team is saved. You did play a little bit of Hanzo. Just to recap that, is make sure that... Actually, what the heck is going on here? I got dizzy. Your Sonic usage, make sure that you're using that to help you in duels. So like this first fight.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
The payload is progressing nicely.
Right here, when you spend a few seconds just shooting into nothing, one Sonic arrow could have saved you a few arrows. Just plop that up here. And make sure you use your E pretty much off cooldown, especially when you're taking duels. And then, I mean, the soldier's just all about positioning. There's not much else to say about that. The whole reason you pick soldier is so you can take the off angles, and then you just never took off angles, so it's not a whole lot of value you're going to get out of that.